My friends, the great experiment.
Prodigy.
Prodigy. Hidden. Trick.
Would you look at that?
The greatest trick.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
The greatest trick.
Welcome to Greatest Trek. It's a new Star Trek podcast from the makers of The Greatest Generation. I'm Adam Pranica.
I'm Ben Harrison.
Just complimented your hair before we got on mic, and I think those watching the show at home are appreciating what I am.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's a little bit of a rainy day here in LA, so some moisture in the air uncharacteristically.
Yeah.
It's giving me that, like, post-beach, you can get that, like, just spray salt water into your hair as a product.
It's actually what I do.
It's amazing. Somebody came up with the idea of bottling seawater and just selling it for an upcharge.
I know, and like a dummy, I pay for it. I'm too busy to make the seawater myself.
I was actually looking at some amazing hair right before we got on mic. I was inspired to watch the Tiny Desk concert of a band that inspired a little song that I wrote this morning, Adam.
Really?
You know we're greatest Trek and then some. You know we are embarrassed boys now. And if I didn't ever make a fart joke, then just let me do it now. It's episode 311!
Wow! That was great.
It is so funny to see those guys in the NPR offices being like fully into their middle age doing this like teenage anthem from the 90s.
I mean, a lot of the bands I love are just still out there doing the thing into their 40s and even 50s. It feels good to see those bands though, right?
Yeah.
Like the memory of how they made you feel when you saw them for the first time. Like, even though they look like old, even though they look like they're too old to be performing, like the feeling is the young feeling.
Harry Kondabolu, great stand-up comic, used to have a chunk about going to a Weezer show as like like somebody who had ascended to adulthood and feeling the strange feeling of the teenage love angst lyrics of Weezer coming out of the mouths of men who were far too old for those to be their authentic contemporary feelings. And that's kind of how I felt watching that 311 Desk concert.
I mean, you don't cease to be the person who felt those feelings initially, you know?
Yeah. I really have a soft spot in my heart for that era of alternative radio rock.
Yeah, me too. Did they do a full set at the desk? Did they do Amber?
Now we're going to chill out for a minute.
Amber's such a fun song.
I think they pretty much did like the 311 songs. Like, I'm sure there are other ones on their albums, but they did all the ones that you would think that they would do. And they did the thing where they have like chapter headings on the YouTube video so you can find the one you're looking for.
Do they still make... You remember the CD cover of the greatest hits that would be like the artists in black and white photographed in a photograph you've not seen before, and then like a white banner on top with the band name and greatest hits on it? Like, this was a series of albums you could get for so many bands and performers. Do they still do that?
I feel like Tiny Desk Concert is that now, right?
Yeah.
Like... Those are always so fun. Man, there was like a brief moment when I thought I was going to make the comedy version of that for NPR with Jesse. Like we were going to like do it at Max Fun and have comedians come down and do, a tight five or something.
Tiny Desk Concert, but for comedy.
Right.
That's great.
And boy, was I excited about that. And it didn't wind up happening. One of the, it's like anytime you think a project is going to be cool and like change everything for you. For sure, that's the one that doesn't happen.
Do you think there's someone that works at NPR that like has to work at a desk near the Tiny Desk Concert area and is like the new guy?
Oh, I was thinking it's like
temporary.
It's like an old guy who's like, Doshi, what is this? It's too loud.
I mean, that's a version of what I'm saying. Is like, look. I thought we would have the office space for one more. This is just going to be temporary. just sit tight for a couple of weeks and we'll work things out.
Yeah. Oh,
And how awful it's got to be to get anything done on concert day.
poor son of a bitch.
Yeah.
That said, a beloved and cherished institution in America, and worried about another beloved and cherished institution perhaps being completely dismantled by the Vaunakat in today's episode, given this temporal portal mishap.
It's true, Ben. I've got a lot of questions, but one of them doesn't occur in the title. It's Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 3, Who Saves the Saviors?
You know the greatest danger facing us is irrational fear of the unknown.
On my mark, go fast.
Not a question. This is a statement. This is an episode about who saves the saviors.
Oh, is who the name? Like who's on first?
I think so, yeah.
Don't worry, the saviors are in good hands. Whose hands? Whose hands?
But when are they going to save them? When? Right now.
Dal, be right there.
It's weird my calls to Aaron Walke go straight to voicemail now.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
But it's the sort of go straight to voicemail where it rings once so you can tell that the person on the other line just hit the side button to dump it.
So we are hurtling through the time butthole at the beginning of this. Our Vulcan squad leader, Majel, is on top of it. She knows what buttons to push and what precautions to take, and everybody else is just kind of shitting their pants.
Yeah, there's clearly kind of a leadership vacuum here that she steps into pretty much from jump, right?
Yeah.
I can't tell if it's because she's Vulcan or if because she's Nova Squadron, because if it's just because she's Vulcan and she's unflappable, that actually works in her favor right now. But it could also be because she's Nova Squadron and the kids look up to her.
Right. She seems cool, but she cannot prevent this ship from nosediving into the surface of post-war Solum. This is the wasteland version of the planet that is left over after the horrific civil war that the Vaunakat endeavored to prevent by sending the Protostar into the past.
I'm no insurance adjuster, but I'm looking at this ship and kind of seems like a total loss. Like much is made of the repairs being done later on in the episode, but I'm looking at this thing cratered into a crater and I'm like, there's no way they fly this thing again, right?
Yeah, both axles are broken. Like,
Yeah.
come on. We've got frame warpage, like...
But even if there wasn't, it would seem as though it would take very little to total a starship, right?
Yeah, but we've also seen, apple bites get taken out of saucer sections and those ships are flyable a week later. So I don't know.
It's true. Yeah. Hard to know.
There are some motorcycle bad guys observing this crash from a distance, and everybody kind of steps out of the ship and are commenting on what a dump Solum is and the fact that there's no water.
Just wait till you see the pool.
Seems to be only one pair of binoculars the group shares. They pass these around, and sure as shit, there's the Protostar out there.
Yeah. And this is like a little bit before Chakotay sent it on autopilot to the space prison for runaway teens that they all met at. So,
do you feel weird sharing binoculars? I got to admit, I'm not a germaphobe, but I'll wipe the eye lenses off before I borrow a pair from a buddy.
You don't want to get pink eye and then have your wife have a lot of questions.
I swear it was the binoculars. You have genital herpes now, Adam. What were you doing with those binoculars?
I pretend it's my magic power.
So, yeah, this is a big revelation. We cut back to the Voyager A, where Janeway and her secret mission squad are on the bridge, and they are talking about, oh no, somebody stole our ship or some kind of malfunction. Anyways, it went through the hole.
Ben, I've got a I got a joke for this.
Okay, cool.
But I
love
really
these.
I really feel like I need your approval on this because we can do it just this one time or we can never do it again.
Okay.
And Wynde can cut this out if it doesn't work.
Okay.
What if we started calling the Voyager A, like in a thick Boston accent, the Voyager?
Like
That tightens it up a little bit, right?
it's a lot longer of an
Yeah. Well, I mean, because it sounds like R and A in the Boston accent.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, okay.
Were you worried I would have some kind of moral objection to that?
I mean, I don't know what you morally object to anymore, but as a comic personality I trust, I just wanted to run that by you.
Fortunately for the crew who have gone through this hole, Rok-Tahk got left behind, and she barges onto the bridge that technically civilians aren't allowed onto, and does a great job of covering for the gang. Like, it was an accident. They didn't mean to. It was entirely not their fault.
I mean,
I think Rok-Tahk's a real one for this.
you can tell Rok-Tahk is sincere, but at no point is this believable.
Yeah, well, that's what I wondered about, because like Rok-Tahk had deep misgivings about what Dal was pushing them into in the last episode, and now is like reporting what happened back to Janeway in a way that will keep Dal out of trouble, which I love Rok-Tahk for that.
It kind of seems like emergency room trauma prioritizing happening here, because like, cool, that is a data point, but what Janeway is trying to figure out at this point is like, that ship that went through the spaceboat hole, that's the only one capable of doing it.
Yeah.
So we're stuck out here, and that sucks. And also, what was that sphere talking to us earlier? And like, how do we communicate through the spaceboat hole too? Like, whose fault it is? And Dal's involvement is on the list, but it's like down the list at this point for her.
So back on Solum, back through the time tunnel into the future, the kids are talking about, okay, like, so Chakotay is still here on planet, and we need to save him because we have a unique opportunity to do that, but we can't do that until after the Protostar launches, because if we do something that stops it from launching, that will mess up the time stream.
I think there's some story/character math being done here with this problem, right? Especially if you're trying to convey this information to a kid, like time stream pollution, blah, 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 like whatever. But this scene personalizes the problem when it is said that, yeah, I mean, if we blow the time stream issue, Gwyn is never born. Right. And that makes it very personal to someone like Dal or a kid watching the show who doesn't quite get the mechanics of this.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So all they need to do is lay low, and almost immediately those motorcycle bad guys show up and arrest them.
What they figure out before they're arrested is they've got 4 hours to figure out this situation. That's the time that they're up against.
And we cut back to Solum present day, where Essentia, I guess, has just never stopped shit-talking Gwyn in front of the elders. Like, since Gwyn escaped, Essentia has just been marching around this big assembly room, talking about how bad Gwyn is and how nobody should ever trust her, and how she's probably saying, spreading bad rumors and stuff.
There is a really funny detail that supports your theory here, Ben, which is, if you notice, every time we cut back to the present at Solum, a grandfather clock chimes. And if you believe that that's on the hour, the previous cut from to this suggests that that's what happened, Ben. She never stopped talking.
She never shuts up about how bad Gwyn is. It's amazing that she was able to disguise herself as disinterested Trill for as long as she was.
God, imagine sitting on this council, like, for hours, listening to her prattle on.
Gwyndala may look Vaunakart, but she is our enemy.
We get it. much like any wedding scene depicted in TV or movies where it reaches the moment, like, does anyone object to what's happening here? In through the door bursts Gwyn and Gwyn's dad. And when he walks right into the chamber with her, he asks if she can be heard. And they allow it. I think if for no other reason than to get a break from Essentia.
Oh, thank fuck. A little bit of variety. Like, we don't trust this lady, but...
Yeah.
Anyways, she brings up this Valu Ra thing that we talked about last week as a way to prove her bona fides as a Vaunakat, and the elders agree to it over Essentia's protests. And it seems to be not just like a test of personal strength, but in fact a one-on-one challenge. So this is agreed to.
Again, for variety, I think, from the council. They're like, it is unorthodox, but we are extremely bored, so we'll allow it.
I need to stretch my legs, get a little fresh air.
You know, we haven't rolled back the lid on that Valura pit in a while. Why don't we air it out?
You know, we used to do ancient rituals all the time. What happened? We love them. It's like life got in the way.
It's like you think initially a fire pit's a great idea to have until like the first summer you stop using it and then it just gets rusty and shitty. That's what the Valura pit is back there. It's the fire pit that the council thought was a good idea.
If we cannot honor our past, we do not deserve a future.
The bad guys in Wasteland Solum have confiscated all of the gadgets from the gang. And they've all taken their shirts off and like removed all of their insignias to disguise the fact that they are from Starfleet. But they get thrown right in jail, and like Chakotay and the Birdman are in there. And initially, no mention is made of the fact that they are all wearing Starfleet uniform pants.
Yeah. Nothing is mentioned of the bird shit smeared around the floor either.
Oh, yeah. There's a bad corner. They picked a bad corner.
When you're locked up with the Birdman, you kind of have to expect that, right? Like, God, this is going to be an issue. The Cloaca will be an issue.
Hey, Dreadnoks? Do you guys have... Could we get, like, some old newspaper? Like, just something we could put down?
I gotta think a Dreadnought is probably great at steam cleaning, right?
Oh, yeah. That's built in.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
Adreek is the name of the Birdman.
I do not write down his name in my notes. It is number 1 Birdman.
But how can you tell when it's coming out of a cloaca? Might be number 2.
Yeah.
Might be number 3.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
How much chill do the kids have with Chakotay and number 1 Birdman, Ben?
They chill the most. They explain that they are galactic traders. Nothing to worry about. Oh, these pants? Yeah, we just, we got them for cheap. Must have been one of those, somebody was getting rid of a whole bunch of uniforms at a vintage store or something.
Fucking Chakotay, dude. Like, these adults in Star Trek Prodigy choosing to trust kids with secrets. Chakotay's one of them. I never believed he would be one of them.
Here's my headcanon is that he clocks these pants initially and doesn't want to embarrass the kids by saying he's onto their little ruse.
Chakotay is a pantsman from back in the day. He clocks him immediately.
He knows.
Yeah.
But I did notice a glaring continuity error in this sequence, Adam. And, we do have, it goes to voicemail, but we do have Aaron Waltke's phone number. I thought about texting him about this and seeing if he already knew, but then I was like, I'm sure that he has heard this so many fucking times.
I can send a text to the Hagemans too.
Okay.
Hagemans are in my phone.
Wow. That's how much deeper you are in the pocket than I am.
I'm way in the pocket of the Starfleet pants.
At the decision to alter their costumes and not present as Starfleet, Majel ties a headband around her ears, I guess, to do a Spock, to do a Star Trek 4 Spock.
Mm-hmm.
There are shots in this scene where they're talking to Chakotay and number 1 Birdman, where her headband is off. It'll be like shot, reverse shot, and the headband is on, and then the headband is off, and then it's back on again.
God, this is so upsetting. First Section 31, and now this.
It's like shocking to me that this is even possible in a 3D animated program. Like, it's not like the actor forgot to put a piece of their wardrobe on.
Not my Star Trek, Ben.
Yeah, this is, the standards have fallen. In the TOS days, they didn't have continuity errors.
They had one take. That's what you got.
A big portion of the jokes in season 1 Lower Decks weren't just about continuity errors from other versions of the franchise.
So here's the secret, Ben. Number 1 Birdman has keistered to tricorder like Walken's character in Pulp Fiction. Mm-hmm. They got the tech in there.
I hid this uncomfortable hunk of metal up my ass 2 years.
And they gotta break out. They gotta figure out a way to use a tricorder to drop a force field. And the kids talk like amongst themselves, like there might be a causal loop at play here, and like a bunch of Star Trek plots get rattled off as a list. But the idea that it might be them helping Chakotay break out of jail that gets the Protostar into the air, and that is in fact what they need to do. So they get started working on dropping this force field, and we cut in time to the beginning of the Valu Ra ceremony.
I so wanted both of the kids to be put into like crab pots and lowered down into the flames. Come on!
Everybody knows that's Kalima.
There's like multiple hearts to rip out of them because that's like the Vonnegut have.
That's their alien
many
anatomy.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
What they do get lowered down into is just a big pit with a bunch of like Egyptian hieroglyphs on the walls. They have to leave their heirlooms behind.
Yeah, it's cool. They have like that metal bucket you see next to a wood-burning fireplace full of the utensils. Like that's kind of what they put them in.
Yeah.
There's the poker and the brush already inside.
It's like, is this a chimney to get like charcoal started? No. That's just to like put the tools.
I never understood why you see the brush everywhere. Are people really using the brush?
Oh, I don't know. Are they?
They can't be. Because if you got to get the ashes out of the fireplace, you're just using...
You're just using shovel.
Yeah, you're using the shovel. What do you need the brush for?
I don't know. It would feel weird to just have poker and shovel, I think. You know?
You want to know what my flag is? Poker and shovel, like up in the upper left-hand corner. Please rise for Adam's Fireplace National Anthem.
So this is, in fact, the place from which heirlooms come. It's some kind of magical Egyptian pit.
Is that the name of a Robin Williams movie?
And Ascensia wastes no time making new heirlooms to fling headlong at Gwyn, and it becomes clear that Valu Ra is just a fight to the death in an environment where you can like summon nano swords at will.
The sequence is what makes animated television great, because you can construct a really dynamic fight scene from an infinite number of camera angles.
Yeah.
And you see a number of them here. It makes the fighting seem really dynamic and interesting.
Yeah, it's cool. And almost kind of felt like a Jedi moment for like the way they can kind of use their mind to change these things was really cool.
I liked how there seemed to be an infinite amount of both camera angles and also heirlooms that you could conjure out of the mist in the air.
The sparkles in the air are all available to be used as weapons or as shields.
Sure. Or helmets. No one thinks to make a helmet.
You missed a big opportunity, Gwyndala.
Yeah.
No wonder she had so much material to talk shit about you with.
We need to score a lot of Latin fast.
We're licensed businessmen.
This ship and her history will shortly become the care of another crew. They will continue the voyages we have begun.
The greatest trek.
So in the future jail, Chakotay is growing curiouser and curiouser about what the deal is with these kids with respect to their rank. Like, who's the leader of you little kids?
Yeah.
And so forth. Like, the kids are good at covering this up, right? Like, Dahl says he's the captain, and Majel is smart enough not to argue with him in front of Chakotay, just sort of accepts the absurdity of it in order to not stick out in that way.
Right.
And Jankum Pog grabs this tricorder that's been keistered and uses it to get them out of jail. And initially the group is like, yeah, we already tried that. Like, that's never going to work. But what he does is uses the tricorder to control his severed arm that he had to dump into that collection box when they were first arrested. So like phasers and tricorders and all the tech and stuff. And Jankum Pog's arm was put in this thing too, and he can control it with the tricorder.
And it sort of becomes a little drone, like thinging around on its fingers.
Yeah.
It fights a scorpion robot thing.
Who's the hand in Adam's family?
That's the thing.
That is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always get thing and it confused, but it is the hair.
That's the hair.
The hairman.
Yeah.
So yeah, the force field down. Jankum is able to beat the shit out of the robot. RSVP that robot.
I don't even know why the scientists make them.
I guess RSVP the guard that they take out.
He just gets pressure washed the shit out of himself by this thing. Which proves our point from earlier.
Yeah. Chakotay has questions about the Vulcan nerve pinch being used.
Yeah.
That seems like a thought technology that shouldn't have gotten this far outside the Federation.
He has questions, but he doesn't really have the time to get deep into it.
That was more of a hand chop. Ha!
Back at the sword fight, Gwyn is trying to reason with Asencia about how, like, you are making the horrible future you predict by stoking all of this fear about off-worlders. Like, all I came here to do is tell everyone it doesn't need to be a fucked up thing, and you are, like, riding for that. What is wrong with you?
What a word, Ben. We're stoking with these fireplace utensils that they can conjure out of the air.
Wow.
It's all working.
You ever get the fireplace set with the little puffer to like blow extra air in there?
I would love that, but it feels like I haven't seen a puffer in a long time.
Those are fun.
Yeah. You'd have to go to a really old house to find the puffer in it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, the puffer is made out of like leather, and it's like there's like extremely old adhesive that's falling out of it and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, but it's so fun as a kid.
Ugh. Nothing better than taking a fire and making it hotter by adding air.
You were talking about being out in the rain that got your volume and your height in your hair today, Ben. Was it actually a puffer? Do you have a puffer in the studio? Did you self-puff?
Oh, to have a puffer in the studio. That would be huge.
It would be. It'd be nice. Especially if it were a huge puffer.
Yeah.
Then it would be huge.
This is just a slicker. Not even...
Is that a uniform slicker? You get it from the Voyager?
Asencia starts sending like dozens of knives at a time at Gwyn, and she uses them to create kind of a ladder for herself. They wedge themselves into the wall behind her, going all the way back up this like multi-story deep pit, and she starts climbing up out, down the gang, get Chakotay headed back toward his ship, and they're going to provide just a distraction from the guards to do it by hopping on some of those hover bikes and shooting at the various Dreadsnock and motorcycle bad guy.
This is a LA specific right here because, I don't know, just about every weekend living in LA, you will get the group of hundreds of motorcycle riders and quad riders just rolling down your main thoroughfares in LA. Very distracting.
Did you see that police chase like a week ago?
I did.
With that? So
yeah.
There was like one guy on a dirt bike that LAPD were chasing, and like all of the stupid local TV networks went live on this with helicopters following him. He gets on his phone. Another guy on a dirt bike shows up and just rides alongside him in the police chase for a while. And then more and more guys on ATVs and dirt bikes arrive to create a flock of dudes riding dirt bikes and ATVs around LA while a bunch of police chase them. And then he winds up like ditching his bike somewhere. He peeled off from the group. LAPD couldn't figure out how to follow him. And then like got on a bus like under a freeway overpass and disappeared into the city.
Yeah, he got I am Spartacused on his way to escaping. It was pretty great.
Amazing that there were that many dudes like sitting around like, yeah, I got nothing better to do. I'm going to go get in a police chase right now.
What's so fucking crazy about motorcycle and quad culture in LA is that it's also a place that permits lane splitting. Like I was driving down Highland last week when 50 of these folks came down the street behind me, and you just don't know where to go if you're driving in your lane because people are driving in the middle of the lanes.
Right. Yeah, like on the highway, if you're in the left lane and you see one coming and like move over, you'll usually get the little courtesy wave, which I live for that wave.
This was the curve in Highland, though.
Yeah,
and
there's
you couldn't really see them coming.
Yeah, you can't help them out. You're not getting a wave. It's just going to be stressful.
Yeah, you're not getting a wave. You're going to get stabbed.
Oops, Dal dropped a gun while they were distracting all the guys, and this gun being near Chakotay is precisely the kind of timeline pollution that they were trying to avoid. Even though number one Birdman gets shot, Chakotay is able to lick some shots back at the assault and unfortunately get on board the Protostar. Their whole thing was they didn't want Chakotay on board because if there's someone on the ship when it launches, it won't be on autopilot and go crash into the space prison for wayward teens.
You know what I love about how this goes down? Like, it's totally believable that, like, oh, all of a sudden Chakotay's got a weapon. He can board Protostar. It makes sense to leave in the ship. There is not a second where Chakotay even thinks about swooping by to pick up the Infinity Kids. Like, there is not a flyby. There is not a, like, asking the computer to transport them up if that were possible. Nothing.
Damn, that totally nukes my theory that he clocked them as Starfleet.
Yeah. It kind of does, because he makes for the hole immediately and does not give it a second thought.
Ooh.
And it doesn't seem like their goodbye is like really a goodbye forever. It's a, boy, Dal and the kids are brave. Good job, like, giving us the distraction.
Yeah. The kids standing there on the surface of Solum watching the Protostar rocket up into the sky all suddenly happen to be holding pencils and all snap those pencils.
Yeah, Chakotay finds the weapon, the kids find the pencils.
They like check the computer in their ship and the computer is like showing them chronoton particles and stuff. So timeline malfunction. And this starts to affect Gwyn, who begins like to, Back to the Future photograph as she's trying to climb out of this pit. And she's like phasing out and unable to hang on to the heirlooms. So she tumbles to the bottom and is like caught by a giant heirloom that forms out of the floor, and Essentia makes it out, and the elders are like, Essentia wins, therefore all her ideas are good.
And as the grandfather clock strikes again, we've reached the end of the episode. Ben, did you like it?
She'll always bring it home.
I had a lot of fun with this one. As you said, the combat was really fun and kind of a nice variety of different action sequences in this one. Fun to actually have a real-time interaction with Chakotay finally.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't make a big deal out of it when we were recapping the episode during, but what a moment.
Yeah, big deal.
We've made contact. I also really like how Iltharan has gone from being the scariest bad guy for most of the previous season to maybe the one person that can help Gwyn and a genuinely sympathetic character this season. It's such a cool trick that they've done with that character. Yeah, there's It remains to be seen, like, how deep they're attempting to say the thing they're trying to say about the dad figure. But at least at this point, it feels like, like, odds are you're going to be good if you're just going to be an astronomer tinkerer, doing your solo business in your basement or whatever. But, like, when you are affected by chaos or something awful, it's a nature versus nurture situation with this dad, right? Like, how much does it take to tip you over into bad guy?
Yeah, I mean, his society hasn't crumbled yet.
Exactly. This is pre-crumble.
And neither is ours, Adam. So with that being said, do you want to see if there's anything in the Priority 1 inbox?
I would like to say first whether or not I like the episode.
Oh, I thought you'd voiced your opinions. I apologize. Do you like it?
Yeah, super fun episode. I love the pit. I love pit fighting. What's my deal? Why do I like pit fighting so much?
I don't know,
that was
man.
very exciting. And that they combined like the well from the ring with a pit fight seemed like new and interesting and fun.
It would have been cool if Essentia had wet black hair when she got back up out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, that could have been a thing. I just wonder, like a big thing is made out of, Protostar didn't go where we thought it was going to go, and that's why Gwyn is blurping out of existence. And like that is my greatest concern over what's going to happen to Gwyn. Where's that ship gone? I don't know if that's intentional or not. Like, I think the show wants me to care more about Gwyn, but
yeah.
I can't help but care about Chakotay and Number One Birdman just a little bit more.
Well, do you want to see if there's anything in the Priority 1 unbox now, Adam?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's get over there.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Oh, we got nothing, Ben. We got nothing in the P1 inbox.
After all that setup? Fuck!
Yeah.
God damn it!
Hey, here's the thing. Support for Greatest Trek comes from Miriam Directions, but P1's most immediate, most available.
Truly.
Get in there and write a message for us to read. We'll do everything we can to get the word out about your thing. And you can do that by going to MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron.
Hey, Adam.
What's up, Ben?
Bonus Franks.
Bonus Franks.
Bonus Franks.
Bonus Franks.
Bonus Franks. Bonus Franks. Did you find one?
Yeah, I mean, Jenkum Pog using the tricorder to work his appendage. A tricorder that has been inside someone. What a great scene. It was fun, and it was fun to turn that moment from there's no way he can get this done to, oh yeah, these kids are thinking about things differently and solving problems, and just look at that little arm go. Look at that thing.
These guys are Starfleet material. Come on.
Yeah, pretty fun. Show kind of rejected some easy hand jokes and stuff, and like come hither fingers or like hand gesture stuff. I thought in a really good way. Good restraint by Star Trek Prodigy there to just make the hand do the thing it needed to do to get our folks out of jail.
No talk to the hand.
No jack off hand.
Maravilloso.
No attempting to push the robot like a vacuum around the room.
No, like going for both eyes with the poking gesture.
Yeah, and then like the spider tail comes up in between the eyes. What about you, Ben?
I think I'm going to give it to the elders who just go along with the big ceremony, like we value our value-ra ceremony, and therefore it has to be done. And then just saying, like, just siding with Essentia outright based on her being the first one back up. Just felt like these are deeply unserious people, aren't they?
Yeah, they kind of are.
Well, that was a lot of fun, Adam. We like to end every episode of Greatest Trek with a warning bois. Of course, this is segment where we shout our appreciation out to folks who take the time to leave us a nice review or recommend the show on social media. It helps a ton to, get the word out about the show and get new listeners into the fold. Listeners that would appreciate what we do here.
The right listeners.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning buoys.
An emergency buoy.
A warning buoy.
Ben, we got a message here. It's from Sarah Sparrow.
Wow.
The headline is Row Drop. That's how Sarah Sparrow can stick a quarter in the drop machine. Here's what Sarah Sparrow from Canada says. I was recommended this pod by my dear friend Matt, who I'm on a pub trivia team with, and we always find a way to work the number 69 into our numerical answers.
Nice.
I feel like that's the best summary of the audience of this show. Thanks, Ben and Adam, for keeping me sane and lolling.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Matt, for spreading the word about the show. This is like a double whammy warning bois. Somebody that recommended the show in real life, and then another person who took that recommendation online and left a nice review.
You know, so often when the pub trivia folks walk into the bar, that's when I leave.
Yeah.
But what this message presupposes is that maybe there are a couple of good people who play pub trivia that I don't just want to walk out on as soon as their crew enters the bar.
Yeah, I mean, if trivia night is not what you went to the bar for, I can see that being kind of a drag, like, oh, this is starting shit.
Yeah.
But I've had fun going to a trivia or two.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Sarah Sparrow and Matt are doing anything they can to spice up trivia, like by sprinkling a bunch of 69s into their answers.
I like it a lot. Well, if you'd like to hear your words coming out of our mouths, do what Sarah did. Leave a nice review for the show on Apple Podcasts or recommend the show online. We really appreciate it.
Well, that's going to be it for this week's episode of Star Trek Prodigy. Pretty good one, I think.
A lot of fun.
And by that, I mean great episode of Greatest Trek.
Oh.
I mean, the Star Trek Prodigy episode, also very good.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Embarrassing continuity error notwithstanding.
Yeah, I really thought your jokes were strong with this one, Ben. Good job.
Oh, thanks. I thought yours were too. And we're going to leave this episode in Wynde's capable hands. She's going to tell you what we've got coming up next week on Greatest Trek.
Great editing by you, Wynde. Great job.
Really funny stuff.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Good job by you, too. Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Ben and Adam will be back next week with a review of Star Trek Prodigy Season 2, Episode 4. It's called Temporal Mechanics 101. Although separated by decades, the Infinity and the Voyager crews band together to save Gwyn's life. Thank you to the Max Fun members who band together to support this show on a monthly basis. If you want to join them and keep us going, set up a membership at MaximumFun.org/join, and you will get instant access to so much great bonus content, including a very fun new episode that just released this week. Thank you to Nick Ditmore, who created the show art, and Adam Ragusia, who composed the theme music. Thank you to Rob Adler and Bill Tilley for all of their work on the @GreatestTrek social media pages. Follow those accounts and use the hashtag #GreatestTrek when you post about the show. We're also on YouTube, so subscribe over there and you'll find all the merch at podshop.biz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows,
supported directly by you.